So number 7 is, what is the current situation of real estate in India?
We are at an all-time high. Real estate all over the country is booming. Everything is booming.
I agree with you, that I think market is at its most buoyant phase right now. But I want you to all understand this. 2012 was our peak. Only in 22 have we reached back those 2012 values, and then there's a slight increment from that point. So 10 years we had a time correction in the market, and now we're again seeing an effervescence again coming into the market, and everyone's got that feel-good factor. But I think our markets are still very reasonably priced, taking into account the potential and the headroom that is available for us. We are still in the very nascent stages of real estate, organized real estate in the country. And only the 6 metros of the country are developed, and now the tier 2 and tier 3 stories are all happening. So once all that catches fire, it's going to be, you won't even recognize the country and recognize where we're going to go. So go out there and buy that piece of property.
See, real estate has gone up almost 1,000 times between 1980 to 2012 in the big metros like Chennai, Mumbai, Hyderabad. But even from 2012 to now, the suburbs have been moving up, and tier 2 and tier 3 cities have been moving up. So overall, India has been here. And as you rightly said, people will not recognize the country 10, 15 years from now. And buy real estate and hold it for the long term.
What is the hardest part for real estate for a home buyer?
The hardest part is buying a good piece of property and holding on to it for the long term. So most people, they struggle a lot and buy it. But when the first downturn comes, or when they lose their first job, the first thing they will do is to sell their real estate. Because EMI will be piling on month after month. And if they lost their job, they're not getting the monthly salary. That's a tough part. So getting a good property with good title and holding on for the long term is the hardest part.
So resisting the urge to sell is the hardest part for being a real estate owner. But in the process of buying, the most critical part of your journey should be legal due diligence. You have to get in doing your legal due diligence and don't compromise on anything. Because passage of time does not correct title. So get the right title, get the right property at the beginning. Spend all the time, money and effort to get it done right at the beginning. So what is the difference between commercial and residential real estate?
Commercial real estate gives you higher return. It gives you 6% and appreciation is slightly lesser. Residential real estate gives you 3% return on your investment and appreciation is more. Commercial real estate gives you a place for work. Residential real estate, joy of living. You are going to raise your whole family, your children. So there is no limit for that. You can't quantify that joy. Residential is different. Commercial is different. So basically, what we advise realtors is, when you join Hanu Realty, you take up all forms of real estate, land, residential, commercial. What excites you, you go and start specializing in. Because finally, you got to be excited in the product.
So what's the difference between a commercial broker and a residential? So these are 2 niches in our industry. The commercial brokers go after leasing, they go after build-to-suit transactions, they go after industrial transactions, they go after large corporate accounts. Residential brokers go after selling homes, they sell apartments, they sell residential land. So these are the 2 differences. The commercial side of the business is more logical, money driven. It is there a return, tangible return on your investment? That's what determines most of those deals. They have to make tangible sense for an investor to invest in. Whereas residential property is all about emotion. The property has to speak to the buyer, and that realtor has to be able to transfer that excitement to the buyer to act. And the same way, to represent a seller so that they get the best price in the market. A commercial broker, on the other hand, has to be very, very strong with the rules and regulations of zoning rules and regulations, the laws of the land, as well as some basic financial engineering. So that way, he's able to structure these particular transactions. If your mind tends towards a more logical reasoning side, be a commercial broker. If your mind tends towards sales and a flair and emotion, would be a residential. What are the benefits of investing in commercial real estate?
The benefits of investing in commercial real estate is you get returns between 6 to 8%. 6% if it is part of a large building, and 6% if it's an independent. That means you have the land and the building, you own the whole thing. For a residential, it's only 3% return.
So the beauty of commercial real estate is you are being paid to hold that particular property so that the compounding nature of real estate is working for you. What does that mean? The rent that you derive from that property helps you pay down your EMI or your loan, which you have taken to buy that particular property. And then your equity in that property is compounding. So every year that is growing. The whole game is, how do I get income to let me hold that particular property? That's the beauty of commercial real estate, because you're getting paid a much higher income vis-a-vis other forms of income. 11th question is, what is one thing I should be aware of as a buyer or seller?
Most important thing as a buyer is buy property with good title. So do all your legal due diligence, and once you have bought a property and if the title is bad, just because you hold it on for a long period of time, it doesn't become good title. For example, if you have bought Colombo land, and just because you hold it and you're occupying that land for 10 years, it doesn't become your land. So take your time and do your legal due diligence and then buy. My advice to you is also buy property from an approved layout. When you buy an unapproved layout, it is a headache for rent. So it may cost a little more, but buy property from approved layout. And when you buy a flat, buy it from a promoter who doesn't violate, goes by the CMPL.
I agree. So I'm going to actually build off that point. When you're a buyer, pay the little premium when you are buying that property, so that you get the right title, you get the right location, you get from the right people. So that way you have no, doubts, and you also have your runway for appreciation and for compounding is set. Because you're not buying for that 5% or 10%. If you're buying for 5% or 10%, don't need to buy real estate. You're buying for your family to enjoy. So pay the little premium when you're buying, so that you get, rest assured and your compounding is working. So I think that's a wrap. And all the best on your property journey. And do subscribe if you like content like this.